morning, beautiful friends. Good morning, good morning. Happy Monday to you. If you are new here, which it looks like a few of you are, welcome. I'm Sharon. I am a mindfulness coach, self-care coach, and a meditation guide. If you are returning, welcome back, and it's really great to have you. So today I thought we would sort of dive right into everything, and we're going to talk about the future, right? The future, I feel like, definitely belongs, the discussion about the future belongs in this class, because the future is this interesting idea, right? It's this sort of thing, this concept, this somewhere that exists only in the parameters of our own mind, right? And so the future is always something that you think about and something that never actually exists, right? The only thing that really exists is right here and right now, right? Same too with your past, right? The past too is now something that only exists in your memory, only exists in the mind. And so our mind, right, thinking about the future, I always like to say that you can use these imagination powers that we have in creating the future for good or creating the future for evil, right? And what I mean by this is not that you're creating an evil future in your mind, but rather that the thoughts about the future that you have can either serve you or cause you to become more discontent and disassociated with the present moment, right? And so the thought that occurred to me this week that kept sticking in my mind, has just been sticking around and is resonating with me, is that your future self, right, your future self is not more valuable than your present self. No matter how much work or effort or what you accomplish, what is valuable is your presence. So think about that for just a minute, right? My future self is actually not more valuable, in part because it doesn't actually exist, right? But also in part too because all of the action, all the happening, all the reality is right here, right now. Right? Oh, excuse me, thank you. All of the action, all of the meat, all of the life, all the happening is here, right now, in this moment. And so if I'm going to create a lot of mental energy around something, it should be this, here and now, right? Now you might be saying, well, if I never thought about the future, right, I might be kind of an unprepared person, right? And I might I think people worry that if they become too present, right, and maybe even myself, I worry about this a little bit, right? If I become too absorbed with right here, right now, then I will be ill-prepared, because what if this happens? What if this happens? What if this happens, right? And I have all these worries, right, about, well, if I don't mentally run through, if I don't mentally exercise the what-ifs in my life, then I will be less prepared for them. But as I've said many times in this class before, very simply, you cannot predict the future. And if you can, I'm sure somebody will pay you large sums of money. And maybe you should become a betting man, which I don't recommend because I really don't believe that you can. So I can't predict the future. And so that's a lot of energy expelled thinking about things that most likely won't happen. And even if I mentally came really close to something that actually did happen, right? It still would not be exactly the same, right? Your idea of what something is going to be is actually always very different in the details, right? The details of your life. And so I think that this practice of mindfulness, it asks you to put more energy into what is real, into what is valuable. If you put more mental energy instead of expelling it into the past and into the future spaces of your mind, and actually bring your mind here. You will feel more grounded, more rooted, and you're actually more prepared for what is going to happen to you because you're more aware, right? You have an increased awareness of the present moment, right? By bringing my attention to the here and now, I actually am better preparing myself for those what-ifs because I'm fully present. I have an increased awareness, right? So your future life is not more meaningful than your present life. So often I catch myself having these thoughts like, and daydreaming. I'm a big daydreamer, right? About all the things that I'm going to accomplish and what a wonderful place my future will be, right? And that can be healthy to a certain extent, to dream, to have big goals, to believe in yourself, right? But be careful not to place an anxiety on it. Oh, what if I don't get it this way, right? What if it doesn't turn out, right, my future? What if those things that are going to make me happy in the future, what if they don't happen? And we can become absorbed with the story that we tell ourselves about the future, right? Absorbed even with the stories that we tell ourselves about the past. To the extent that we create these emotions, right, that actually have very little to do with the here and now, right? Very little to do with my current situation, right? Because peace and contentment, right, they exist here and now always, right? I might be excited for my future and the things that might come, and you can be grateful for the opportunities that your life might hold for you. And you can be excited and believe in yourself, right? But it should never be at the cost of thinking that happiness exists in this mental space of the future, right? Happiness doesn't exist anywhere outside of here because you can't experience it. You can't experience the future. The future is not now. You can mentally do this sort of exercise, but you can't live that, right? And so more contentment, more happiness, more awareness, all of these things happen here. All of these things happen in this moment. And that's why meditation is the exercise, I think, towards mindful living, right? Because our meditation practice, what it does, at least for me, and I hope for you, right? What our meditation practice does is it grounds us in the here and now. Right? It reminds you of what is real. This is real. This here and now is real, right? This is my life right here. My life is not this future idea that I have, that I've added meaning to, right? My life is not what happened to me. The tail does not wag the dog, right? My life is now. And what a beautiful thing to experience more of your life, to be with more of your life, to just be. Right? What does it look like to just be? Full acceptance of this moment. I've left in the comments, or if you're on YouTube and Patreon, in the description, a little YouTube clip from, who are we looking at here? A little YouTube clip of...
Consciously take it to an extreme.
Eckhart Tolle, who is so adorable, by the way. He reminds me of like Piglet. He's just so... there's something so wholesome about Eckhart Tolle. So, in this video clip, right, he talks about the experience of that peace, that joy, that space, right? And he talks about that peace as a sort of a complete acceptance of the here and now, right? Which is a little bit of space. There's a little bit of emptiness there. There's room, right? And how the question that was asked from the audience was something along the lines of, of this person was looking for the peace in their life. They were searching for the contentment. They were looking for that experience, right? And this is something that you cannot look for because it is already here. You don't need to look for something that is not lost, right? You haven't lost it. You just need to be with it, right? We can distract ourselves from it by thinking about the future, by thinking about the past, by not just being here. But the present moment is always here. It's right here in front of you. It's here and now. And in that moment is contentment. In that moment exists the acceptance of all that is, right? And with that acceptance, right, comes a great deal of peace, a great deal of joy, right? And that is always available to you here and now, right? You don't need to go looking for the here and now. You don't need to go looking for your peace and contentment. It is within you, right? All of the time, by just being with it. That is not to say that the mind and your emotions do not need some settling. And sometimes it can take a certain amount of space and time for you to come to the present moment mentally, right? Because we are very used to, and we have created habitual habits around exercising ideas of the past and exercising ideas of the future that we've sort of stirred up everything in our minds, that sometimes it takes some time for all of those thoughts to settle and for you to mentally arrive in the present moment. But it is always with you. It's always here. There's no searching that needs to be done, but maybe just some mental settling, if you will. Okay? I hope that makes sense to you. It's not always easy because, like I said, and for myself included, entertaining the idea of the future, sometimes it is easier to create ideas of the happiness that exists in the future rather than trying to be with all that is right now, right? But that is mere distraction. So that is why we have this practice, and we call it a practice because it is just that. It's something that you can work on continuously and grow continuously in, right? You can always be growing in this practice, and that's what I love about meditation. That's what I love about mindfulness. So that is what we're going to do. We're going to meditate, and then we're going to do a little mindfulness, and hopefully that meditation carries into your day and allows you to be even more present and more aware. And with that presence, I hope indeed that, and with that acceptance of the present moment, that you find a deep contentment, that you find some stillness, some peace, and maybe even some joy. Right? So, if you'll join me, we're going to drop the shoulders down, and you'll find yourself in a comfortable meditative position, whatever that is for you. That can be seated, lying down. Trust that your body knows what a comfortable, meditative, sustainable posture is, right? And before we quite close our eyes, we're going to practice being here, right? So where are you? Notice. Notice you're here. Notice you're now. What does it look like, feel like, this space? If you were to close your eyes, right? What would it look like? What would you forget? Those little details. Just take this moment to really absorb where you are. The quality of the light, the shadows, the space, the distance between you, the items around you, the walls. You find yourself here. Start to bring your awareness closer in towards yourself, closer in towards the body, and notice where your environment touches your body. Notice what it feels like to sit or lie. Notice the temperature of the room, how it feels on your skin. Just notice. And we'll bring our awareness even closer in. Notice your breathing. And at this time, you can let the eyes fall closed so you can look inward. Notice what the breath feels like in the body. Just notice. And we'll take this time to just be. To just be here. Nothing need be done. Nothing need be mentally resolved. Just a moment of silence. A moment of stillness. And let everything just settle. Everything slows down. You don't need to try. It happens naturally. Just breathe. Just be. Let the mind do as it will. No control. And very slowly, very gently, direct the mind to this simple mantra. I am. Inhale, I. Exhale, am. I am. If ever you find the mind to slip away from your mantra, that's okay. Let the mind do so, and then very gently redirect back to your mantra. I am. Say it to yourself with great conviction. I am. With a subtle smile. I am. allow the mantra to fade, and you're left with just breath, with just being, no control. And not now, but in a moment, I'll begin to count backwards from 5. And not now, but the moment that I reach 1, your eyes will gently blink open to the sound of my singing bowl. And I count 5. Remember the space that you're in. 4. Remember the body. Notice how it feels. 3. Take a deep breath in. 2. An audible exhale. And 1. The eyes very gently blink open, and you start to feel awake and aware, awake and aware, awake and aware. Take this moment to once more notice where you are. You're here, you're now. Notice how you feel in the body. Just notice. And notice if there's any residual thoughts or emotions, lingering thoughts or emotions. And we'll take a deep breath into those spaces if there are. Deep breath in. And on the exhale, let some of that go. Like a big sigh of relief. Inhale. Audible exhale. We're going to take our hands, warm up our hands, create some energy. And as you're doing this little exercise, this mental exercise here, right? Think about the energy that you want to carry with you throughout the rest of the day. Rinse that over your body. You don't need to touch, just rinse all the way down. And again. And over the body. And last time. This time we're going to go up, okay? So you're going to pull from the ground all the way up. Notice how you feel, if you feel any different from when you began, right, before we started our meditation. Just acknowledge that. And thank you so, so very much for meditating with me. Just a reminder that these classes and the full meditations are free to Patreon members, right? The Monday morning live Zoom is free to Patreon members. The link for Patreon is in the description below. Or if you're watching this on Patreon, thank you for supporting what I do and allowing me to continue to bring meditation into your lives as well as mine. So I hope to see you back next week, and have a beautiful day, everybody.